The Lakers are 25-18 and fifth in the Western Conference, so it's no surprise that they have an all-star starter, but what is surprising is that LeBron James is the guy chosen. When LeBron James is on the court this year, they are being outscored by 4 points per possession when he's on the floor. When he's off the floor, they are outscoring teams by 5.5 points per possession. His on-off rating is a minus 9.1. Obviously, these numbers aren't very good, and I wanted to go into the film room to explain what gets to these numbers with LeBron James. So this is them playing against the Celtics. They went on to win this game. Recently, after the D'Angelo Russell trade, they have been starting Max Christie. They had even started doing that a little bit before, I think, when LeBron had his absence from the team. Obviously, now Jared Vanderbilt's back, so we'll see what happens with Rui. But yeah, they're starting LeBron, AD, Reeves, Christie, and Rui Hachimura. I think what's really interesting is LeBron's numbers are still very much there. So I think an important thing to look at here, first play of the game, because I think this is ultimately what the issue is. LeBron James is your power forward, and in previous years, it's like, oh, you got point LeBron. LeBron runs point guard. You don't need a real point guard out there. Now it's at the point where you probably don't want to just stamp him with every single ball handling opportunity. So there's guys like Reeves and D'Lo are kind of necessary to have in the lineup. What ends up happening though is LeBron gets kind of that Trae Young, Steph Curry, De'Aaron Fox type of treatment on the defensive end of the floor, where they just put him on who you're not going to run any offense through in Drew Holiday, right? And LeBron doesn't have the help ability that he used to have. He's often been criticized for just kind of standing there and blaming his teammates when they give up buckets, but he is guarding like this, and he's a 6'9", wing player. I think he's having a lot of the same issues that the Kings are having with DeRozan. He's a bigger wing player and at a position where they need some defensive ability, and he's not bringing them any. They have to hide him in the corner on guys like this, and then like Austin Reeves has to play out there to get some rest for LeBron on the offensive side of the floor. So then you have, two guys who aren't really doing that much for you on the defensive side of the floor. And it ends up basically AD has to clean up everything is what it kind of feels like. Um, and another thing here too, like Reeves has become he was a couple years ago, but he's such a good ball handler and like a really, really good on ball passer. Makes this really good pass to Anthony Davis. I think a lot of people can make that pass just because Anthony Davis has like the second highest lob radius in the league now that Wembanyama's here. But just having more guys who can fill like the on-ball primacy role that LeBron has really led to him not feeling redundant, but like not as necessary as he was earlier in his career. I think this is another like thing that I think people have caught up to this because he's been doing it for a while, but Christie goes here, he gets blocked by Holiday, and LeBron just kind of stands there while his guy gets the ball. This wouldn't be too big of a deal if Christie did it because he's already going to be out the play running that way. But LeBron doing it hurts too, and like, yep, 3-on-2 on the defensive side of the floor, it just doesn't. It's not going to equate to good results. See, this is another interesting thing for me too. Like their ability to create shots for people that isn't LeBron, I think is a lot better than it has ever really been. Just because JJ Redick's like a pretty good offensive coach already at this point in his career. Just the ability to create these type of looks for Reeves without really doing too much crazy stuff like that hadn't previously been there. And obviously that's a great shot, but just the talent around the team is about the same, but the ability to like utilize the talent has gotten so much better. Right, and obviously LeBron still has plays like this one here where he gets this spin in transition and he gets this fadeaway right here and like Al Horford is cognizant of Anthony Davis running into the rim and LeBron can make that pass. So he is still a good NBA player. It's just on this Lakers roster, like I think I said it on a podcast a while ago one of ours, and Jesus Christ, on one of our episodes that honestly on this Lakers team, like even like a guy like Jaylen Brown, like might be a better alternative. And like once again, right here, like Finney Smith's the original Tatum matchup, and then Reeves is on Pritchard, and like just the fact that like Reeves is having to do so much of this on ball defense stuff is like kind of ridiculous because like you're pairing two guys here who are not really giving you anything defensively. Like Reeves plays hard and I think is a little bit better than the credit he probably gets, and that honestly I'm giving him, but like nothing on Tatum. Like he's just gonna get blown right by every single time. And just having two guys out there constantly, it was even worse with D'Angelo Russell, because I think D'Lo's probably like a 10th percentile NBA athlete. And you have LeBron out there as well with him. And like while I'm saying these things about LeBron, like here he makes a really tough shot, and then I think this is kind of the play that he brings that is really unique. Like this hit ahead pass to Reeves right here, like it doesn't seem like anything, but like it creates a problem with the defense. This connect three is there. This Finney Smith three is 100% there. It ends up in a LeBron dunk. Like that hit ahead pass is still like some really advanced stuff, and on a lot of situations, like stuff like that should be pretty like unanimous. Like it should bring a ton of impact to the game. But the Lakers have had guys on their roster that can do those type of things just because they've wanted to take a pressure off of LeBron in game. And I think especially since the Finney Smith acquisition, like when you take LeBron off the court and you put Dorian Finney-Smith off, you put Dorian Finney-Smith in instead of him, like you have Reeves out there with Rui, DFS, Max Christie, and AD, and honestly, the offense doesn't really run that much through LeBron anymore. It's more through Anthony Davis, and Reeves and LeBron are out there as well. So the defensive alternative is a lot better, and I think for Reeves, the alternative is they're bringing in Vincent a lot more, playing with LeBron instead. I mean, that, like, just look at that pass. Look at this from AD. Like that, like it's pretty open to be fair, but like that's the bread and butter of their offense is that right there. A very very Nuggets type action where, um, I mean, JJ Redick's talked all the time about this, where this give and then boom. Like imagine this is Aaron Gordon, this is Jamal Murray, that's Jokic passing it there, and then Murray's gonna run straight to the ball. That's the main action of this Laker offense, and LeBron's not very necessary for that, right? So I think the key part of it as well is you know the main stuff they're trying to do on offense. LeBron isn't necessarily essential for, right? And when LeBron's not essential for it makes him a little bit redundant. Just for context, within that on off, their defensive ratings a 110 uh, when LeBron's on the floor, or when LeBron's off the floor, versus a 117 when LeBron's on. So fundamentally, a much worse defensive team when he's out there. And then offensively, it's like they're +2 with LeBron off the floor offensively. But like again, I know this is transition cross match, but they've been matching up LeBron on Drew Holiday the whole game, right? So within this lineup, you put Christie on Brown and Rui on Tatum, right? Or yeah, or do you put AD on one of those guys and then you just kind of help off of Porzingis? Like there's just a lot less alternatives when you have LeBron plus another non-impactful defensive guard out there, right? Like Reeves, you can tell him to go out there and play his ass off, but you know what he is. And just the fact that you're expected to play another on-ball, you know, another poor defensive guard next to LeBron, who should be taking up a ton of offensive reps. I just think he needs to be better defensively. Is ultimately what he is. First play of the half here, they come out with Rui on Porzingis and they have AD on Brown. I would assume this is to help off of Jaylen Brown. LeBron obviously is a very cerebral player. He sees this. He's still guarding Drew Holiday, by the way, just so you know. That is an intentional matchup. like this pitchback is going to be there 100% of the time. You're going to give up this three, and just look at what LeBron does after it goes in. Damn it. I can't really tell what he's like mad about. It might be just the fact that the shot went in, or he could also be getting pissed at a teammate there. Like stuff like that, I'm sure doesn't help. Again, here, the plays like this, LeBron still has this intelligence of the game, just throws it down the floor. Plays like this where he can make with his brain and his natural passing ability and not his hustle, he still got, right? And that's why it's very conflicting on, you know, how impactful LeBron still is at this age. Because he does shit like that and you're like, damn, he still got it. But then the results just aren't that good. Another play here. Um Obviously you look at the defensive matchups here. LeBron is guarding Pritchard, right? And the fact that this is 100% for a reservation thing. Um, like look at what happens behind the play. You have Hayes out there. Finney Smith is on Tatum. Yeah, that makes sense. Like LeBron needs to be on Cornette or Horford here. Whichever one they think's gonna run more the screen action here, he needs to be on that guy. If not, he needs to be on the other one. Because look at what happens with the help defense behind him. I'm not blaming LeBron for not leaving Pritchard here. Whoever's guarding Pritchard should stay on Pritchard. But the fact that LeBron is the guy who's on Pritchard, I think, is the big problem. And they are doing this intentionally. When in a basketball, philosophy here, you don't want Vincent and Reeves being the help defense on Tatum and then sliding over to take away Cornette. Like it just the fact that he's out there just makes them play in a way like that. I don't think JJ Redick even thinks this is the right way to play basketball, right? And LeBron made a catch and shoot mid range, and then here he gets into the spread pick and roll, gets a switch on Cornette, makes this shot. Obviously, that's a good play, but just look at like what the other players are doing on this play. Reeves spacing at the hash, Vincent and Finney Smith spacing in the corner. Like this is eventually just turns into an isolation game. And obviously like 2018 Rockets were elite in isolation doing the same exact thing, right? But in this instance, right, this is not how this Lakers team plays offense. They fundamentally change how they are playing offense as soon as LeBron gets the ball in his hands. And I think that's just kind of a transition for these guys. Like I think they're one of the better offenses they've been forever. Um, this year they're ranked 13th, which probably about what they've been, but they've done it in a very different way. And honestly, not a super offensively slanted roster. They play entirely different as soon as LeBron gets the ball in his hands. I think that's another key part of what's going on here. So an interesting part here, like they're running this action. This is a weak screen by LeBron. Not to be super critical, but they're running this very Nuggets action, like I talked about earlier. And this is not the most important player on this play. It's where you put the worst shooter that you have. Like LeBron's not 100% necessary for this action, right? Like obviously it helps to have another guy out there, but ultimately, like the most important guys on this play are AD and D'Lo or Reeves, who are the guys who are getting the ball off of this handoff most of the time. Those are the two most important guys on that play.
So yeah, after that, it becomes kind of a blowout game. I think the important takeaways of this is LeBron's not very important for what the Lakers are trying to do on the offensive side of the floor. More so the ball handlers like D'Lo when he was there, and Reeves, who's there now, and Anthony Davis, who's the guy who gets the ball, makes a lot of the decisions out of their Nuggets split post actions that they like to run. On the defensive side of the floor, or even more on the offensive side of the floor, when they do run the offense through LeBron James, it's completely different from everything else that they're doing out there. Makes the roster's not adjusted to running offense that way. They're not built to run offense that way. There's not 100% a ton of really great catch and shoot shooters for when they help off LeBron James. Roster's not built that way. It's built to run the way that they're playing offense every day with Anthony Davis out there, with Austin Reeves out there. On the defensive side of the floor, I think LeBron and Rui are a little bit redundant. A lot of them, guard centers when you need to, box out on bigger wings, use your strength to leverage position and use them as help defenders. I think throwing LeBron on low activity guards or off ball wings who sit in the corner a ton, or wing shooters like Sam Hauser who LeBron has to chase around screens. I don't think that's very productive. I think it's kind of hurting you, and it's taking away LeBron's best skills on the defensive side of the floor, which is using his size and athleticism as a help defender at this time, and his intelligence as well, knowing where to be. You're kind of taking those away by putting him on guys who he kind of just has to stick to. And I think once Jared Vanderbilt's back, I think that will really help, because I think him and LeBron and Rui, Vanderbilt's a little bit different between those other two guys. And I think he'll be starting a little bit. We'll see what happened. He's played one game so far. I'm hoping that they make those adjustments. Overall, though, I'm not mad that LeBron's in the All-Star game. I 100% get it. He's an old guy. He's very popular. His stats look like All-Star stats. But I would have rather seen other guys who aren't. There's probably going to be a couple guys who don't make the All-Star game. Maybe an Alperen Sengun doesn't make it. Domantas Sabonis probably will make it, and he 100% should make it. Jalen Williams from OKC might not make it. There's going to be some guys who, honestly, I think are going to get super snubbed, and with LeBron making it instead of those guys. So that'll be it for this NBA film room. I hope this didn't sound like too much of a LeBron hate session, because truthfully, he's definitely one of the best, probably the best player of all time.